Norton Media Center online. I'm calling to order the July 27th meeting of the Norton Charter Commission. 6 members are present, with Denise Luciano, David Wren, and Dave Heaney on their way, I believe. And we are awaiting council as well. Let's see. There are no members of the public present at this time. Before we start, in case folks may have missed it, I wanted to bring everybody's attention to the fact that somebody within our ranks experienced a very nice promotion, and I would like to congratulate Kevin Schleicher Jr., who was just promoted by the select board to the position of sergeant, and it's very well deserved, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Laurie. Didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I did. It's a good thing. It's nice to have good things to talk about nowadays. Okay, we have Dave Heaney, and I'm going to assume, Denise, is that you?
The cell phone number is also me, Laura. I gotta do the thing to connect it.
Okay, so you're 8779? I'm going to say yes.
I said yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right. Okay, let's work on the very short minutes of last week. And before we do that as well, I wanted to point out just a couple of things in particular for the purposes if Keith was not here last week, and we did vote on the final draft, barring any technical changes to the charter. We added 2 members of the Finance Committee to the Transition Committee within the transition procedures. And then we also asked Lauren, she was missing one of the administrative powers and duties of the town manager, and that was included. But I wanted to give Keith an opportunity to weigh in if he had been here, if he was in agreement with the draft charter that we've proposed.
I'm in agreement with it. You guys did a great job putting that together. Yeah.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah. So I'm in favor.
Okay. Thank you.
The phone last week and I couldn't get in.
No, that's okay. We wanted to just make sure you had a opportunity to weigh in and that your voice was heard. We were in the unanimous vote last week, so sorry you weren't able to get in. If you have that problem in the future, anybody has that problem, call my cell phone directly and I can connect you into the call, at least so you have audio. Yes, because I think we did that with Lauren Goldberg. If you recall, that very first week when we just did dial-in and she couldn't get in, they had a limited number of options. But just at this point, we're hopefully kind of winding down. But in the future, if anybody has that issue, call my cell directly, and I'll just connect us in.
Good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Okay.
Hey, Laura, just wanted to say,
oh my, is everybody else hearing that the same way? Denise, that we didn't get a darn bit of that.
Thought she was playing the banjo.
Denise, do you want to try again? Does anybody else hear? It's not just me, right?
Well, I heard it.
No,
Yeah,
I mean now.
I don't hear. I have not heard her since. Yeah.
Okay, since the banjo. All right, I'm going to assume. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and assume David Wren is not going to be joining us this evening, and I will also assume Lauren Goldberg hopefully will be at some point. So why don't we just take a look at the minutes from the last meeting. That was Monday, June 13th, 2020. Sandy sent them around yesterday.
Laura, Denise.
Denise,
I just want you to know that.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you sound a little better now. I sort of made out what you just last said. I know you're here.
Laura, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I hesitate to say yes. I hear noise. I think it's you based on what the Zoom data is showing, but you're not really coming through clearly at all.
Laura, can you hear me now?
I can. It's a little clearer, but it's not great.
Okay. I was just saying I'm here. Yes, can you hear me?
All right. We're good. All right. Hopefully you don't have to chime in too much. If you're having problems, text me or put it in the chat. Okay. I will take a motion to accept the minutes of Monday, July 13th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call. Let's start with Denise. I'll take
No, we
any
won't.
noise as the affirmative.
Yes.
Thank you. Sandy.
Yes.
Janie.
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
Dave Heaney.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Did I get Kevin Schleicher? I did not. Sorry.
I'm a
Kevin?
yes.
Okay. You dropped off the screen. Hiding on me. Okay. We are unanimous of the members who are here, everybody excluding David Wren. Okay. David is a definite no. Denise is going to dial in again. Haven't heard from Lauren Goldberg yet, so just to give everybody an update. Okay, moving on. Administrative items, minutes. Printing, we heard back from one company and we sent that, Sandy had sent that to Mike Units, who recommended somebody else that he has gotten quotes from in the past. I think we are waiting to still hear back from them, Sandy?
Yeah, I called them today to follow up just to give them some more details, but they should hopefully give me an estimate tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Denise is chiming in. All right. Hopefully once we talk this evening, we should be ready to go with printing. I did one last overview of the charter, more for kind of the formatting consistency. I'll make a few of those edits with Lauren. Nothing of any material nature. It's literally all formatting, dotting I's and crossing T's and things. Nobody from the public is here. We'll close public comment. Did we have any other admin? Sun Chronicle is all wrapped up, correct? We just need to give them, what do they need? 3 days notice?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3.
Okay. Did the printers give us any idea how long they needed to
There's
print?
a couple days.
Okay. All right. So we're still in very good shape. Okay. Haven't heard back from Lauren, so if nobody has any objections, I'm going to skip over the questions that we had raised from the past 2 weeks for Lauren. If she doesn't join us this evening, I'll follow up with an email and we'll get those resolved. Why don't I share my screen? 1 second. And I will pull up the latest draft of the preliminary report from Kerry. And I wanted to find out if anybody, and just bear with me because I've got just a smaller subset of you now on the screen. So take yourself off of mute if you do want to talk, because I may not see you raising your hand. But I wanted to find out if anybody had any suggestions, changes, edits, tweaks. A couple of people had submitted some to us via email to this version of the preliminary report. I think the only thing we've done since we dated it for August, because it's more than likely that's when it's going to be printed. It's ready to go pending our discussion of when we decide to hold the public hearings. I think this will probably stand, and it's safer as opposed to just putting in a date in there. So let's just open it up and see if anybody had any issues, concerns, suggestions, edits, tweaks that they would like to see in the preliminary report.
So I thought the content was fantastic. It was dead on, and Carrie should be applauded for all of the work that must have gone into writing this. The only thing that I had were a couple of like nitpicky grammatical things, because I'm super OCD about that side of all types of documentation. So I didn't send anything back over, but maybe I can volunteer to do a clean read through once we have everybody else's feedback incorporated at that level of just, clean eyes on something to perform that type of review.
That's fine. Do you are there a significant number of them? Is it enough that we could go through and make them as we go through?
It would be if I could find my printout. If you can see me on video, you can see me looking all around my office area for wherever I put it.
I can.
Right.
Okay. If you can get those, if you don't want to, if you think they're too numerous and too onerous to kind of go through tonight, if you could just send those through once we finish discussing the kind of the material content.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nope.
Just the formatting of this first page, with that big space between Norton and Charter.
Yep.
I wonder if we could just put it down a line so that it's together.
I can do that. Anybody else? Can't be this easy.
Laura, did you say there were other changes that you made based on feedback?
Yes.
David Wren sent some. David Wren sent some comments. More clarification. So I think it's. I don't have control over the screen, but it's. It was more adding parentheticals to.
Do you want to tell me where to go, Carrie, and I'll pull it up?
I can't put it up on my screen. Well, let me see if I can put it up.
Okay.
No, no. Don't you count that.
Do you have David's email? I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, so at the bottom of page 2, I made a couple of just very minor edits, more wordsmithing than anything else. Shoot, I had done a red line, but I guess.
Here, if I recall correctly, I think we had put in here with regards to an engineer, and we had pulled it out because was it an engineer? No.
Yeah, no.
It had to do with
DPW.
sharing services.
We originally had sharing services or a DPW under concerns that are not within the commission's scope to address. However, we thought David made a good point, and that was really speaking to the effective planning, and because we do address it within the scope of the charter, so we simply moved it up to that category 3.
Right. I'm just looking at David. Ren's comments. Give me a second. A lot of it was simply just clarification.
I don't get how this is something. It sounds like a treat. It's so good. And yet it doesn't have any treatment.
All right, I think I found my red line.
Okay. I was going to say, I found David's comments.
Yeah. We took more efficient use of personnel and equipment across departments out of the section that talks about those things that we can't address, and we put it in effective planning and goal setting. The last bullet. We wordsmithed on page 2. Oh no, sorry, I think this one has the wrong page numbers. Where we say highlights of the Charter Commission recommendations. Under change the form of town government from town meeting to town council. The third bullet now reads, this change eliminates the position of town moderator and replaces the finance committee with the finance or ways and means subcommittee of town council. To just clarify, I had originally had it as this change eliminates the position of town moderator and an appointed finance committee outside of the town council members. So just to clarify.
But isn't that not just a subcommittee of this town council? It's also going to include residents?
It can be if that's what the town council decides, but that's not what we have in that charter.
I thought when we talked, we had said there could be no more than so many residents.
I thought we decided against like mandating that residents be in there.
I think the provision within the charter allows for it, and it specifies the maximum number of town councilors and the maximum number of residents who can be on it. But it was not a definite. I think it was just in there. We did not set the terms of it. We just allowed for the provision of it.
Right, but what I'm saying is that sounds like it's, when I read subcommittee of the town council, I guess that's not clear to me that towns, residents can be part of that.
Can you use the chat instead?
Yeah.
If they decide not to residents?
Denise, the first half of your, the first half of your message completely broke up. Can you chat on the Zoom?
Yeah. Or Denise, what I've had to do with Zoom is dial in on my phone while I'm on the Zoom for video. So if you're not on your phone already, that might be better than the challenges that we're having with the audio.
I can't tell whether she's heard us or not. She's still on mute.
I'll pop something into the chat so that she can at least see that.
Okay.
And we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how the chat works if we're in screen sharing. Do we get a notification?
Did you get that notification?
I did. Look at that.
There you go.
Okay. There she goes.
Oh,
There's
sorry,
potential
everyone.
there'll be no residents. It's up to the committee. It's already on my phone. Not sure why it's not working. so Sandy has suggested that
Remember that this isn't the detailed summary either. This is just the highlights. So I wonder if further down we can clarify that there may or may not be town residents.
within the larger
So
overview.
that would be under Article 2, under the draft town charter summary. And again, I'm sorry, I don't have page numbers on it.
That's okay. Looks like page 7 total.
So under the council president will, the third bullet down, maybe.
Okay. Sorry, I'm texting back to Denise, just telling her we got her message. Okay, town council press service, the appoint members, officials. So it does say members and officers of council committees. So we could put in here which may include residents, in parentheses, and a parenthetical here.
Maybe after finance or ways and means subcommittee, because I don't know that we said anything about residents being on there.
Members and officers of council committees, for example. Yeah, we've already got a parenthetical here, though. We have a lot of parentheticals.
Yeah, I was trying to provide detail, but not too much detail, because it'll get confusing if we have too much.
It is, but it's one of the more sensitive boards, so I think Sandy raises a good point about making people aware of that. It will not, granted, I think they'll appreciate that they get to vote on those.
Do we call it out maybe as a separate bullet then under Article 2?
As a higher level one?
Let me see, legislative. Or maybe financial management. It's more town manager in the process.
Yeah, it would fall within, it does fall within this section, so I think we should keep it here. Will organize itself. This one, the president will.
Maybe after town council will confirm certain department heads and members of multiple member bodies.
Can I just ask, why are we calling it a subcommittee? That was kind of my point. It's a standing committee, right? But it's not really I don't think we define it as a subcommittee in the charter. And that's, I guess, the part that makes to me sound like it's all town council members. It's a subgroup of that town council.
All right.
So I feel like if you just change that language to standing committee, back where you were before.
Yep.
Then
that works for you.
Yeah, and actually here too, subcommittee, I guess would be the same. Because they're not subcommittees, right?
They're not. I'm looking at the charter now. Appoint members of standing council, or let's just call it standing committees. Okay, and then back in the highlights. Oh, Lauren Goldberg is joining us.
Hi there. How's everybody?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent.
I lost my spot. 7 stagger. There is Ways and me. Places with a. Do we want to say standing committee here, Sandy, or just committee? Are you happy with?
Yeah, I would just say a standing committee and then take off of the town council.
Okay. Is everybody happy with that? Okay. Did anybody else? Lauren, we're just going through hopefully the final draft of the preliminary report.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else have any suggestions, edits? Carrie, I see you're talking, but
just to finish with describing the changes that were made before this meeting. So there was for example, Financial Ways and Means Committee, and then further down in the summary in Article 4, Town Manager, again, just added some clarification, volunteer boards of commissions, such as zoning board of appeals, conservation commission, etc. So again, Dave suggested we simply illustrate it for the readers so that they understand what those multiple member bodies are.
Okay, I'm sorry. Where are we again?
That was Article 4 under the draft town charter summary.
The large end. Okay.
Again, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, we're here. So it would be this section that he was looking for, just clarification of what that entails.
Yeah. Just to illustrate.
Is that it for
David? So those are the only changes we received before circulating this draft.
All right. Does anybody else have any edits, changes, suggestions they'd like to see? Okay. I'm going to assume we're okay. Hopefully Denise is okay. They don't have another chat, so. She did actually text me at one point. Hang on. I had no changes. It looks great. Okay. Good job, Carrie. Okay, so David Heaney said he had some, what we'll refer to as technical amendments. I'm assuming, David, it's just wordsmithing at this point?
It wasn't even wordsmithing. It was like commas and things like that. So,
don't raise the reading level with any of the changes. Don't raise the reading level.
I do have to admit I am far more partial to the IEs and the EGs, and I noted that you wrote them all out, and I assume that was for a reason.
It's for, yeah. So basically, whenever you have a public document, you want it to be at a 5th grade reading level. So that's what I was trying to bring the reading level down so that it's understandable and not have so much jargon.
Okay. And that was fair, which is why I kind of didn't go back and make all of for examples, the EGs, which I really wanted to.
I know. I had them as EGs and then I changed them all to for example.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think if everybody is happy with the content and the layout, let's talk about the last chart. We had some differing of opinions as I was asking around for guidance from a few different people. So this one here has dotted lines which references areas where there is some consultation between the boards and appointed boards and committees and department heads, and confirmation by town council of certain areas. There was a suggestion that it might look cleaner if those were removed, that it was fully detailed within the charter. And just for an example, I'm going to stop sharing this and I will pull up the cleaner version. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can everybody see this screen that says proposed organization on it? Or am I sharing the small one right now?
Yeah, I'm seeing
You're sharing the small one.
Yeah, I thought I was. I pulled the wrong one up first. There we go. And I was wondering if I just clicked over if you guys could see it, but apparently not. Hang on, somebody's chatting. Denise is happy. Looks good. Okay. So this is the cleaner version, and I was going to try and do side by side, but I don't think I can do that because I'm using 2 different systems. Although, nope, I can't. It'll take me too long to figure out. Does anybody have a preference, a strong preference, one way versus the other?
So to me, the organization shows who answers to who as opposed to who hires who. And the other chart that shows with consultation and the different dotted lines don't really reflect who is responsible, accountable to the different parties. I don't think technically the town manager has input from an entire committee that when you're hiring them. So I don't think any one of these jobs are going to be hired individually by one single person. The dotted lines seem to just confuse all of that.
It does, and I would agree that it talks about how they are put in place and not necessarily what the organization looks like moving forward. And it may be confusing in that it could allude to town council having some say within, those particular departments. So I could see how it could be confusing. Does anybody else have any opinions one way or the other? All right. Let's make this easy. I am going to take a motion to accept the chart that is presently on the screen without the dotted lines. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Did I?
All right. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Carrie.
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
Janie.
Yes.
David Heaney.
Yes.
Denise. Hang
She
on.
put a yes in the chat.
Excellent. Perfect. She's ahead of me. Thank you. Kevin.
Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who am I missing? I'm sorry.
Me, Sandy.
Sandy, sorry. I know how you voted. I will go along with the group, and we are unanimous. I will switch out this chart for the one that is presently in there. And let me go back and share the... There we go. All right, so I'll remove this one from the final page. Oh, hang on, let me see, somebody's chatting again. Yes, okay, Denise is good. I will switch this org chart or proposed organization out, and David Heaney will send me some technical amendments this evening. If nobody has any other issues or suggestions with the content or how it is laid out or anything that may be missing, I will accept a motion to accept the materiality of the preliminary report as it stands now.
Laura, did Lauren ever weigh in on this?
No, well, last week maybe. Lauren, did you have any comments?
This is very much of a policy document. Laura, I keep trying to address to move your screen, which is.
Sorry, tell me where you want me to go.
I'm just gonna grab it up on my screen again.
Okay.
Weren't there a couple of pending questions too, Laura?
There were actually, but we had jumped ahead, so now we've got to
So
go back.
Laura, I don't know. Did I get the final one? I don't know.
That's a good question. I think I sent it to you with the group, but let me double check. And of course, email has already kicked me out. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
So.
Oh, here it is. Draft preliminary report?
What's the date?
No, yeah, that was the 13th. So I don't know that I got it in the final form.
So I would have sent it. You know what? You did not, because I sent it with the updated agenda. And I'm looking at the distribution list, and I do, unless I blind CC, no, I did not. No, I apologize. I did not send that to you.
That's okay. If you give me 2 secs, I can look at it and just see if there's anything else.
You got it. I'm sending it right now.
And then I'll send you, I think I haven't sent you the final, right?
The final.
You had something where there was you wanted me to update town accountant and.
Yes. Well, we actually wanted to have a quick chat about that. There was some, a few questions if you had, and we jumped around. So unfortunately we got out of order. I think so why don't we take a quick look at hang on, I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that we're all up. Okay. So we had, the first question that we had was the Charter Commission had voted to have Town Council appoint the town accountant, and that was not within the charter, and we did not know if that was a oversight or for a reason.
Oversight, and I added it.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So based on that, within that proposed organization, we did put within that the town council appointed the town accountant. So
I saw that, yeah.
The way that is right now should stand. Just for clarification purposes, despite the appointing authority, the accountant technically report to the town manager.
So that is something to decide. And I would say, doing this, I would say the answer, in my view, as a policy matter, probably makes sense. You're going to have an independent accountant, do a thorough review of the books, et cetera, at the end of the year, and where the town administrator is going to be working with the town accountant on a regular basis. It seems to me that it makes sense to have them report to the town manager. And so that seems to make sense. From a logistics kind of point of view.
I think that makes sense to me. Does anybody have a different opinion?
So I just have a question then. Does that mean that the town council appoints the town accountant, but they can't fire the town accountant?
Yeah, usually I'm having a hard time finding my way back to you guys. Hold on. Okay, I think this will do it. Oh, okay, good. Okay. So this is one of those things where there can be a little bit of a disconnect between, or as to how to address things. And that is, for example, that let's say the town manager gives some advice or to the town accountant doesn't like it. Who do they go to? And this is kind of like a built-in check and balance because they really have to go to both. In theory, the council could fire the person because they're the ones that are appointing the person. And so the bottom line is they need to be responsible to the town overall. And, you know, some of this, the issue of reporting to and which rules will apply, et cetera, that's an important one in terms of just running things. And so, you know, I would say that it makes sense to have the council appoint, and it makes sense as an operational matter to have the accountant report to the town manager from a day to day.
I'm sorry, did we get an answer as to whether the town council can, by being the appointing authority, can also fire?
Yes, inherent in every ability to appoint is the ability to remove, except if it's for a term found in years, in which case the provision can provide for that, and we've talked about that. You know, we've talked about that in this instance as well.
Okay. All right, Sandy, you happy with that? Okay. And then we had a question, who typically hires the town attorney in a town council form of government?
You know, I think you could say it could be either way, but I think typically it's a town manager. This is one of those things where it's important that there is somebody kind of running the show, meaning making decisions and providing guidance. So anytime that there was a financial need, the manager would have to come to the council and request essentially the council's approval to pay for any particular proposed settlement. But it wouldn't necessarily require approval to settle matters that didn't include dollar amounts. You know, the charter is replete with provisions saying that the town manager must keep the town council updated as to you know, what's happening in the town, and I think that would certainly be the kind of thing the council would expect and be able to request. But it wouldn't necessarily mean that the council had to be involved in every litigation matter. And sometimes, especially with respect to employment issues, it's useful that for the council not to have to be involved, or to have the council not be required to participate.
Okay. With regards to confirmation, is this one of those positions that the town council should consider confirming, or should we leave it at the discretion of the town manager?
I think that's a policy decision. I could see arguments in both directions, but I don't think there's one right answer.
Okay. I know when we made our decision as to which department heads the town council would confirm, I think if I recall correctly, it was Denise that had suggested a subset, and it was based on the percentage of responsibility as related to the town budget, which is how I think we came up with our lists. So okay. I'm going to open it up to members as to what they feel their position is with respect to confirming the town attorney. So also to remind folks that the town attorney previously was one of the few positions that was actually hired by the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board. Select Board again as the executive branch, but that was one of the few positions that they were responsible for hiring under the current form of government. So, given that, does anybody have a strong preference one way or the other as to whether the town council should have confirmation of the hiring of the town attorney.
No strong feelings either.
I'm fine leaving it.
I do not have a strong, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I will take a motion to accept the town attorney will be appointed by the town manager and not require confirmation of town council.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Roll call. Sandy,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Dave Heaney,
yep,
Janie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Denise. Did she vote? There she is. Denise is a yes. Laura will also vote yes. Motion's passed. Okay. Lauren, then the other issue.
Laura, just give me one quick second. I just want to make sure I caught up.
That's fine. Take your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. Sorry. Didn't mean to rush you.
No, that's okay. Okay. All right. I'm good.
Okay. The other question that we had was with regards to within the charter 4.3, we had two references to a treasurer.
So I corrected that to be treasurer / tax collector in the 4-3A1.
Right.
And I added town attorney in 4-3B.
Okay. Perfect. Anybody have any questions with regards to that? Okay. And then the only other thing was just a find replace select board for Board of Selectmen.
Yes, and that is done.
Okay.
All right, so let me just send this right back over. Okay. What draft do we think this is? 5?
I think
4? 5.
it might be the 4.
4.
Hang on.
I think it's 4. Now that
Okay.
you're saying it. All right. So Laura, I'll send it to you and you can email it on.
Beautiful. I've got a few just format edits, literally like missing periods and things
Do
like
you
that.
want to add it or do you want me to?
No, I'll send it because there was a few.
Okay.
So once I get that back from you tonight, I will do that right before or right after we hang up here.
Okay, and I did just send it to you this minute.
Thank you. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, great.
All right. So based on what we have just discussed, quick question. I just want to get everybody's thoughts on this chart, which I'm going to move over. So based on this, so originally this said the town auditor, and we switched it to town accountant. They do also appoint an independent auditor on an annual basis as part of the budget process. Mm-hmm. I did not feel it needed to be here in this chart, but I wanted to get other members' opinion, your opinion as to what you thought, and I can add it if you think it's needed, but I wasn't certain.
They're more of a consultant on an annual basis, so I would say this is more illustrative of with the government involved.
Yeah, it's a contracted position. It won't be,
Right.
it's not a employment position, so to speak, or an officer position, I guess. Does anybody feel differently about that not being included? Okay. All right. So we're going to leave this as is. Lauren, I've sent you the preliminary report. If you want to take a minute to look that over,
On it.
I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to have a discussion about dates for public hearings and other meetings. And hang on, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I crossed everything off that we did. Okay. When Lauren is done, she can weigh in on her comments with regards to the preliminary report. We'll take a vote on it at the end of the meeting or closer to the end of the meeting. So based on this, and given the fact that we have to give 10 days notice for a public hearing, we should probably start picking out some dates. And I was also wondering, or I was going to propose if the next meeting, which is August 8th, if we should dedicate that particular meeting to either the public hearing itself and or having that as the meeting in which we invite everybody back that we interviewed previously to give their comments as well. So ideally, I see us needing 3 dates. We're going to need a public hearing outside, a public hearing date virtually, and then a meeting to invite everybody back that we had interviewed with and had given us their input during our process. Does anybody have any thoughts? I did mark down when we got other town events. Fortunately, the select board decided to do the special town meeting at the end of the month. I think it's the 28th. So we actually have, within the first 3 weeks of October, pretty wide open dates. Did anybody have any ideas or thoughts on where they wanted to start?
Or can I just suggest, since we're having 2 now public hearings, can maybe rather than trying to schedule a 3rd meeting, can we just invite the people back to one of those, like make a specific outreach to them with maybe like a link to the charter so they can see it, and also just a personal invitation to come to our to one of our public hearings.
I'm perfectly fine with that if that's the way the group wants to go. I was actually wondering if maybe we wanted to do 7 to 9, 7 o'clock being, invite the folks back that we've already met with, and then open it up to the general public for the last hour. I don't know what the logistics or the legality of that is. If we wanted to keep them separate, if we wanted to mix them, what was your thought on that?
I guess I don't see that many people coming to these 2, especially the outside one. I think we'll get more on the virtual one, and I think that would be where it's, I think, so convenient now to attend that one. I feel like anybody who wants to come, it won't be a huge number that we can't manage it.
I agree. Does anybody feel differently? Should we propose then, so we've already got a meeting scheduled for August 8th. Do we want to make that the virtual public hearing? We should have, everything should be done by then, probably even printed. It would be within our 10-day, we got to put that in the paper though, don't we?
I think we want to make sure it's in the paper before we have a public hearing, because we want everybody to have a chance to see it in the paper.
I'm thinking in terms of the notification of the public hearing, that has to go in the paper, and I'm not sure we have time for that.
Right, But I mean, even the charter itself, I feel like that needs to go into the paper before we can hold a public hearing. I mean, the whole idea is that people haven't had a chance to read it before.
Right, but I thought we talked last week that we could schedule everything. There was no specific order in terms of.
You can schedule it before it goes in the paper, but I don't think you want to hold it until it goes in the paper.
Okay.
Right. I think it has to go in the paper first.
Okay. Okay, so given that, so we're kind of limited. So we may actually not have anything to do on August 8th. Let's see, maybe we want to talk about, hang on, I'm just going to bring up my calendar real quick.
Sorry, I think I missed something. What is August 8th? It's a Saturday?
I'm sorry, I keep saying the 8th. I think I mean the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. It is. I didn't have my calendar up. So it is our next meeting is 8/10, August 10th. It is conceivable we will not have this printed and put into the Sun Chronicle by that date, probably likely. How about, and I don't really see, given where we are, I don't see a lot of need for a meeting, maybe some prep work, but probably not even in advance of that public hearing. So how about we propose rescheduling our meeting on the 10th for the 17th and making that the virtual public hearing. Oh, one other thing I contacted, so with regards to the outdoor one, I wanted to try and find a place where we may have some shelter out of the elements if possible. And I thought the public park at the library, and I reached out to Lee Parker at the library and just asked if it was possible to not rent, but use or hold, I guess, the space. I could see that it was available for particular events. I'm hoping they wouldn't charge us for it. But if we could use that space in the gazebo and then Norton Media Center could set up there, and, you know, if we could just simply put chairs in. It's a decent sized gazebo. I think we all sat in around. It would probably work out fine. I'm not, like Sandy had said, probably picturing even fewer people coming to the in-person meeting than the virtual meeting. Does anybody have an issue? I'm just trying to get back to my calendar real quick. Anybody have an issue with moving the virtual meeting to the 17th and doing the in-person one? Should we do it on a weekend, like a weekday, do we think? Anybody have an opinion?
You mean at night?
No, I was actually thinking like a Saturday afternoon.
Oh.
Or Sunday afternoon.
Sorry, I thought you said weekday. I think a weekend is probably best if we want people to attend.
Yeah. All right, so I think we don't want to go prior to the 17th because I'll be worried about us getting 3 weeks notification up in time, and everything printed. So why don't we aim for the 22nd of August, if that works for folks? We just need to pick a time. first thing in the morning, do we think? 8 a.m. too early or 9 a.m.?
Oh,
I
was
can't
on
be
mute.
here, so
9.
I'll just, I'll stay home.
Okay. All right. So let's propose we move our meeting on August 10th to the 17th at 7 p.m. Make that our public hearing. We'll invite everybody that we met with along with the public. And then Lauren, should we do a continuation of that meeting or a separate agenda for that meeting?
I think you should make it a continuation of the public hearing.
Okay. All right. And then we'll do August 22nd, provided we can use the gazebo. I'm less concerned about a rain date. Everybody is okay with that? Oh, hang on. Somebody's chatting.
I'm out on the 22nd.
Okay.
I'm out too. I'm out.
So that's 4 of us. Everybody else better be able to make it or you won't have a quorum.
Do we need a quorum for a public hearing? Lauren?
I'm sorry. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Okay.
That TPC is in town that weekend.
The 22nd?
Yes. I don't think there's going to be fans, but I won't be there.
All right. Denise said she's out the 22nd. So Kevin, Keith, Carrie, Denise. Is that everybody?
Yeah.
All right. I got to check with David Wren because we don't have anybody else to spare. And again, keep in mind, it's literally just an hour on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'll be out of town, so.
Okay. Where are you going? Nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to one of the approved
allowed states?
So.
The few states that'll have us. All right. What did I say the date was? The 22nd? Sorry, I'm texting David because I prefer not to have to hold another meeting to reschedule this.
Do we need to hold a meeting to reschedule, or can we do that via email without violating law now?
Yeah, we could.
We're not deliberating over anything. It's just a schedule.
Yeah, you're allowed to do it by email. It's just you have to be careful not to share any feelings, ideas, thoughts, beliefs, or concerns.
Man, you have that list down.
Is that it?
I know.
I'm a robot. There's no have a good day. Hope everybody's well. You get nothing.
You can do that, but you can't say because it's important you can say have a good day.
All right. It's too late. I've already been in robot mode for a year, so.
Good. I'm glad. There's nothing I like better.
David Wren is saying he should be. Okay. Gonna need you. Okay. All right. So let's move forward on this date. Is everybody okay with the 17th? Let's talk about that night.
Yes.
Anybody have any issues then?
Should be fine.
Okay. All right. Sounds like we're good there. Okay, so we've got to tie up the last of the technical edits on the draft. We got to vote on the preliminary report. Sandy, you're going to reach out and invite everybody that we met with previously for the 17th?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
Formatted all of the public hearing?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are we going to talk at all about the format of the public hearing?
Sure. My anticipation is that it would truly be a hearing. We would just kind of give an overview of what we would have hard copies available, make available links to the online version for the virtual meetings. I will suggest within the notices for the public hearing that we suggest people actually read the preliminary report and the draft charter when attending, and be prepared to give their thoughts on the matter. From our perspective, I think we should view this truly as a hearing. We are there to listen, and not necessarily give our comment or rationale. And I think that's important because at that point it will still be a draft charter. And it is not the final that we will be voting on. It will not be the final one that goes to the Attorney General. The Attorney General could weigh in and force us to make some change. And if we've given some very detailed rationale for the reason for our decision and then we've had to change it, we've ultimately just not sold them a bill of goods, but we have not given them the most correct and updated information at that public hearing. So I think within the public hearing, if we get questions with regards to why a decision was made, I'm going to put a reference guide together and just suggest that they should go back and listen to the particular meetings. We can draw attention to what meetings those particular deliberations took place in. But I think from our perspective, we are there to listen and take in new information, additional information, and just make reference to what we are being told as opposed to us talking and giving our opinions or rationales on things. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any differing opinions on how this should operate?
I think that makes sense, right? This is, we've had plenty of time to talk over the past many months of meetings. And so for the people that show up, this is their opportunity. I think what might come up though is if they start asking, why did you do this and why did you do that? Then that might be a little bit of a different scenario if they're looking to put it on the spot. But I think we can just refer back to the endless videos that are up on YouTube and sets of meeting minutes and everything else to be able to answer those questions.
Yeah, I think it's important that we're not trying to be coy or avoid the answer. I think it's only, for our own protection because this is not final and we still have not voted on the final version. We could potentially be forced to or make a decision on our own based on what we heard to make a change. And we don't want to have to, we don't want to give them information that may not be accurate at the time or when we go to vote on it.
I like to characterize that as being reactive. And so to avoid being reactive and to be able to analyze the information, if you receive all that information at the public hearing, you can then address it at the next meeting and avoid being reactive. That's another one of I know I said that now several times, but that's another one of the words that I like to use in that circumstance.
Okay. So address at the next Charter Commission meeting, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we would do a kind of a post-mortem, let's call it, after we do a meeting Whether we do that in conjunction with the review of the Attorney General's report or we do it separate, we'll have to kind of see what we have scheduled for time slots for meeting dates. We may have time to take them in subsequent meetings. There may not be enough to talk about in one or the other. The Attorney General may just have some minor edits, and we could potentially combine them into one. And then, so from that point, so we do a postmortem from the 2 public hearings. We'd get back the feedback from the Attorney General's office. We probably have a couple of consultations with Lauren and see if there are any changes that are required to be made, and then have a discussion, something in line with what Janie had brought up at one point with, are we happy with what we are presenting, and are we comfortable with our ability to be able to sell it and garner yes votes for it? And then have a vote on that final version. Seem reasonable? Okay. Did anybody else have any comments with regards to the public hearing?
So 2 things, Laura. I think when you were talking about the reference guide, I don't know
Reference guide.
that you were going to create. I think
It was more of just for me to look at. So if somebody said, well, why did you come up with that decision? I could say, well, it's not something I was planning on handing out. It was more we talked about it in this meeting and voted on it in this meeting, if you'd like to refer to that.
Right, and the second thing is, in terms of pushing this out, besides the notification in the Sun Chronicle, which I think we know is probably not going to be seen by a whole lot of people, what other avenues of advertisement are we going to do? Are we going to go to the Facebook group and throw it out on all the different groups?
My intention was to do, where are my notes? A few things, actually. And a lot of it actually could be assisted with the town clerk, since the town clerk needs to get a copy of the report as well. We'd probably ask her, not only does she have to post it literally on the town website, we ask her I will draft up for her a little announcement to send under the town clerk's Facebook notification. I'm thinking that's the one we could then share to post to all the Norton pages on Facebook. I was also thinking we could use, similar to what we did with the survey, use Norton Alerts, make them aware of the public hearing, just do a single email and text notification. Update our own web page on the town's website. So I've asked Charlene to post the preliminary report. Lauren, I did have a question. Do charter commissions, when they post things like that, like say to the town clerk or on the website, do you post the preliminary report and the draft charter separate, or is it a combined document?
A lot of times they'll do both.
Okay.
One combined and then one, and then 2 separate. And Laura, I just sent you an email, but I'm going to send it back. I'm going to send you another one back because I saw 2 things I did not do.
Fair enough. Okay, so
the Norton Alerts, I think the email is fine, but I don't know that I would go the text route.
even just for a public hearing is taking place, go to the Charter Commission page for more detail? No?
I mean, again, I think I like the email is fine, but I don't know that I want to.
Yeah, I know we are limited in the amount of space we have for text with a text alert.
Are they going to send out any information about town meeting?
The special town meeting?
Yeah.
I don't know. The select board, Jack may post something on the pages. There will probably be something on the main page of the website. The town clerk may post something on her Facebook page that might get shared.
They have Norton alerts for that too, though, Laura. They've done phone calls for those.
For a special town meeting, though, have they?
Yeah, they elections and things like that. So that would be a good place to tag into. Is that what you're suggesting, Lauren?
Yeah, I'm just saying if they're going to be sending out something anyway, it could also say, further, please note that there will be a charter commission public hearing at blah, blah, blah. The blah, blah, blah is the important part.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. All right. So, any other suggestions with how to communicate? So we've got the notice going in the Sun Chronicle. We've got the information going on the main page of the website. We'll have it on our page of the website. We'll ask the town clerk to post to her Facebook page, and we can share that notification to the other Norton pages. From there, we'll utilize Norton Alerts. And I also could conceivably see us using the NC3 Facebook page to get further information out. And at that point, I think, it'll be slightly redundant, but more information or more reminders of it, the better. And then individual members can, feel free to post on their personal pages and share. I've just asked not to get into any heavy discussions within your own pages. And I would just ask Janie again to, once we do start sharing the town clerk's information, if we do get any questions or comments, if Janie could kind of follow those and address them as needed. And we'll tell people to, if they can't make one or both of the meetings, we'll always tell them that they have the opportunity to send us an email to our address as well.
Did you mention Norton Media Center, Laura?
I did not. Oh, yeah. We can have them do a little thing for the local access that Peter can read. All right, making a note of that too. Forgot all about them. Although if they don't have, I'll have to find out. I know I think it was an intern that was making the little banners that went up on the screen. So we'll just have to make sure that they've got somebody available to do those. And if not, if it's just plain text, as long as it's readable, I think we'll be fine. I don't see any issues with that.
On the electronic bulletin board or billboard that's outside of the town hall?
I'd missed the beginning of that. What was it?
The electronic, what do you call it? The billboard, bulletin board, whatever it is outside of town hall.
Oh, yeah. Do we have access to that, you think?
Oh, I think we could ask the town manager, right,
They'll put it on there.
Okay. Making a note. Okay. Any other ideas? Get the word out? All right. I do have one, actually, Lauren, are you done?
I am, yep.
Okay, sorry. We'll jump back to you because I don't want to hold you up any longer than we need to.
Okay.
I have one last admin item, and that's it. Any comments on you want me to pull up the preliminary report draft?
Yeah, that would be great, Laura. Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second.
The second one.
Yes. Hang on. One that you may have sent me?
I sent it twice.
Got it. Okay, give me a second.
I think I said, please use this.
Please use this. This is the updated version?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to close the other things because I found that. If I don't, all right, I've got to download it. Give me 1 second. Sorry. I keep forgetting that this is one of those systems where you just can't open it straight from. Okay, share. All right. Everybody can see it. Keep in mind, I haven't, I had sent Lauren the version before I had shifted around that front page, so I'll make that edit again. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to scroll?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Yell when to stop.
As soon as you see changes, I'll just tell you why I made them.
Got it?
Instead of calling it a draft charter, I called it a preliminary charter because that's what the statute says. And I think it'll be confusing when people hear draft instead of preliminary. It's going to be out there as a preliminary charter.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So we should make that change throughout, because I think I saw it up at the top of that page too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, draft charter, right?
we can do a search and replace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Okay. The next thing was, if you go down again. Okay. If you start there, so I just changed the word "it" to the town. I think it sounds better. And then because of the which, I think you should say the word again, which themes became, just to refer to it after the comma. You guys, this is a policy issue, but when I read that, the things that you heard most of concern were, and then I thought, oh, those things are like bad. The town's doing bad things. And so I think it's probably better, and again, this is a policy issue, but from my perspective, to say, remind people, this is what we were hearing. People were concerned that they're frustrated in preparing for annual and special town meetings. I think you want to make sure that you're not saying that those things are actually in existence. Not that you're not saying that, but they're not your ideas as much as they are the ideas you got from other people. So it's reported that the budget process, many suggested that there's mistrust. It appears that social media, rather than kind of having those be conclusions that the committee made. And I don't mean to wordsmith too much. It just kind of hit me that it sounded like that was automatically, those are things that you're kind of assuming are bad. I don't think that, I still think if you take that stuff out, that's okay. But that was my just kind of like initial perspective.
Okay.
So I did that throughout this part.
Okay. Same
Yep.
concept running all the way through.
Yep.
Okay.
Same thing, in addition to hindering, there was concern that this combination, I just rewrote that. I'm pointing because you can see, we felt it was important to confirm here that they were heard and acknowledged. I just kind of changed that around a tiny bit for readability.
Yep.
Because I'm a nitpicker, that's what I do. If you disagree with me, I will not be insulted.
No.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
I changed that around where we can't address these particular areas, should the preliminary charter be adopted by the voters in a substantially similar form, we recommend the formation of a blah, blah, blah. So you have that. Or you could say we are recommending, I could see that too. And then as proposed in the preliminary charter, this committee will include several members of the charter. Again, with the blah, blah, blahs, it's good. Paying me by the word. So, okay. So, in your change of form of government, the current finance committee will be replaced with a standing committee of the town council to be known as the finance or ways and means subcommittee. I put in the town council, and the town manager and accountant I reversed because the manager is probably, on the level of importance, I would say the town manager probably comes first there. I got rid of draft town and put preliminary again.
I just wanted to point out the reason I'm laughing is that fourth bullet above under the change of form of government. We pretty much, before you had arrived, we had started looking at this and had made that almost identical change. So,
Oh, really? Good.
but it didn't get to you because I just sent you, I panicked and sent you the draft that everybody else got.
Good to be on the same page.
Or is it a standing subcommittee or is it a standing committee?
It is a standing committee.
It's a committee.
Can we take
Standing
out the sub?
Well, it is a subcommittee of the council, but you can call it a standing committee. That's fine.
Okay.
So you can fix it both places.
Yeah. Just to give you some color there was some concern because within that section of the charter, we are allowing the town council to potentially invite members of the public to sit on that committee.
Yep.
We didn't want to say subcommittee and make it look like it was made up of solely town
Gotcha.
council members.
Then change it to committee, please.
Okay.
I'm in full agreement. All right.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, there's a spacing issue that I created, I think there. A new department would consolidate. I added existing. I just think it might help. I capitalize all the time. You say town.
Got
And
it?
then the change eliminates the separately elected water and sewer commissioner. Okay. Again, nothing huge. Rather than saying stopping something, I thought maybe saying reconsidering a matter.
Yep.
Okay. Then aside from the Board of Selectmen, all other boards, commissions, and committees will remain elected, right? Because they're not going to be there anymore.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a different way you want to say it, but we can think about that. Yep. And then all other elected and appointed committees will retain their existing terms, or all other members of elected and appointed committees will retain their existing terms and composition.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then, okay. That's that. I don't know. We are eager to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
You could put in need, but I kind of think it's like you're inviting people. You're saying, please provide us with information. So you can think about that. Okay. And then what next? And thank you. That was really sweet. I appreciate it. I enjoyed working with you guys on this. Okay. Keep going. Preliminary charter executive summary.
Okay.
Or, yeah. Okay. And I think that was, there was department heads. I capitalized town. I think that's it in this whole process here. The rest of this.
Registered voters.
No, it should say allow registered voters, not just allow registered.
Got it?
I think citizens raises questions. It suggests that non-citizens will not be able to do things, which is not actually the case. Anybody could go and ask, registered voters to petition. So I would say registered voters. I think it's just clearer what's actually being provided in terms of an opportunity for the registered voters to affect the legislative branch.
Okay.
It's called citizen petition mechanism, I understand.
Okay.
Just in case anyone wanted to call it out, I know. I capitalized charter,
Okay.
I capitalized bylaws. And this last thing, there is a town manager, his position would be changed or whoever to acting town manager until they're elected and formally appoints a town manager. I just think it kind of makes it seem less abrupt.
Okay. Is that it? No, we're at the end. And then.
And that, but without the dots. I did hear that. I was
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're
Right.
going to switch that one out. Beautiful. Does anybody have any questions on anything that Lauren has raised here now that they would like to discuss? Okay. Does Does anybody else have any questions for Lauren? Otherwise, I'm inclined to let her enjoy the rest of her evening. Okay. All right. I think we're all
Thank you,
set, Lauren.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good
Thank
job.
you very much.
All right.
Thank
talk to
you.
soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Okay.
Laura,
Yes.
the only change I would revisit is that substantially similar form. I think that elevates the readability.
Okay. Tell me where that
so I
was
can't-
again.
I don't remember.
I don't either. Hang on. I'll just do a.
Here, oh, you got it right here. While we cannot directly address these particular areas, should the preliminary charter be adopted by the voters in a substantially similar form? Like we all know what that means, but
Yeah.
we're putting this out to the public, and so it's now passive wisdom. So.
So I
Carrie?
can just say
I
that
lost Carrie.
I did too. I'm sorry. I was just going to ask if it was just me again.
can we say should the final charter be adopted? Because it's not the preliminary charter that's being adopted, it's the final charter, right?
Yep.
Would that be accurate?
Yes. And I don't think it would need to be capitalized, just final, correct? We don't have a final track. Carrie just popped in and said we don't have a final charter yet, though. Well, I think that's why we're saying, should the final charter be adopted by the voters in a substantially similar form?
Well, I think that's why the substantially similar form is needed for the preliminary part, right?
So we're still talking about the preliminary, so I think that's accurate as is, but that's confusing. Sorry, I'm trying to read and cover. I don't know whether my chat box is blocking the screen or not. Hopefully not. Somebody yell at me otherwise. Okay, so yeah, I think I would agree with Sandy because the only thing that the voters are voting on is the final.
Well, to Carrie's point though, if we're talking about the preliminary charter, then I think that that's necessary to, I guess I don't know how you change Lauren's wording to make it any more clear.
All right. Carrie is saying we cannot directly address these particular areas. We recommend them. Recommending the formation of transition committee to assist should the voters adopt a final charter similar to the preliminary version here. Just trying to do this on the fly. I think substantially similar is legalese.
Can we just say, maybe not, never mind.
Yeah, I think it's legalese, but I don't think it's hard to understand from a non-legal perspective either.
Yeah, I don't hate it the way it's written. Although it's been a while since I did 5th grade vocabulary, so I don't know whether substantial is a word that would trip anybody up.
How about, can we spin it to something like, should voters decide to adopt the committee's recommendations? That way we're not trying to figure out what type of charter we're talking about.
Was that it, David? I was just trying to grab it real quick. While I cannot directly address these particular areas, should the voters decide to adopt the Charter Commission's recommendations? It would include the formation of a transition committee. I don't know if I like that either.
Can we just say, well, we cannot directly address these particular issues. The Charter Commission is recommending the formation of the transition committee. Or as part of the preliminary charter, the Charter Commission is recommending.
All right. Sandy, try that one again. While we can't directly address these particular areas,
The Charter Commission is recommending.
The formation of, we've got that already, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're changing it back to what we had originally, pretty much, right? As opposed to we were saying the Charter Commission. But what was Lauren's issue with what we originally wrote? Did she? I don't remember what she said about that. Or the preliminary charter recommends.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Preliminary charter okay. While we cannot directly address these particular areas, the preliminary charter recommends the formation of a transition committee, period, as proposed in the preliminary charter. Okay, hang on, sorry. This typing, I just noticed. Okay. Sorry, Carrie, I don't remember where you left off. Willing to go with the majority reading level should be low. If the final charter resembles this preliminary charter, we recommend the formation of a transition. Maybe she had an issue with should the new charter be adopted. She wanted it to relate to the preliminary, but acknowledge it could change. All right, so as it reads now, while we cannot directly address these particular areas, the preliminary charter recommends the formation of a transition committee, period. As proposed in the preliminary, kind of redundant. I think we could probably get away with this transition committee will include, as opposed to as proposed in the preliminary charter again.
Yeah, or even what we had originally, this committee will.
Yeah. All right. This committee will include several members of the Charter Commission, among others, to ensure these concerns are considered moving forward. Should the vote, oh, that's mine. wasn't a new one. All right, how do we feel about this? While we cannot directly address these particular areas, the preliminary charter recommends the formation of a transition committee, period. This committee will include several members of the Charter Commission, among others, to ensure these concerns are considered moving forward.
Not to be a grammar nudge, but does the charter actually recommend anything, or do we recommend the things that are in the charter? We as a commission recommend things. So there are things as recommended in the charter.
Yep.
But I don't think the charter can be the subject of that sentence.
Well, I think we can get into the legalese of while there is a
shut up, I can shut up.
No, I'm just thinking there is a transition committee that is suggested within the charter, but it is not a requirement. They don't have to. I don't think there was was it direct, how does she refer to it? Directory as opposed to, I forget what the opposite, where's the attorney? Harry, what was the opposite of directory?
It is required though, but by as much as anything can be required. I mean, there's no consequence, but
Okay.
Was
it a shall or a must or a will or the whole, the verbiage?
It's as strong as it can be, again, without having a consequence.
Okay. Shall is must. You say that, but it's not really. Will is less, I think she said. Yeah, I gave up trying to, the legalese kills me. Okay, so while we, not directly, alright, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as part of the preliminary charter, we are recommending.
As part of.
I guess I'm just going back to what we originally had.
Yeah, I was going to say within the preliminary charter.
Why isn't it just, while we cannot directly address these particular areas, we recommend the formation of a transition committee, period. This committee will include several members of blah, blah, blah.
Right, that's what we had in the original. Dave and I were trying to.
Oh.
That Lauren changed. So, and I wasn't quite sure. I don't know. I was trying to change it in a different way that would meet both what Carrie was concerned about, what Lauren was concerned about. But I don't have a problem going back to what we had originally.
Okay. While we cannot directly address these particular concerns, we could just simply say within the preliminary charter, we are recommending the formation of, how does that work? I don't know why I cannot retract that. Or we recommend the formation. Nope. Carrie agreed. Okay. While we cannot directly address these particular areas within the preliminary charter, we recommend the formation of a transition committee. This committee will include several members. How do we feel about this? Carrie likes it. Anybody have any issues with it? All right.
I'm good.
Anybody else? Do we lose everybody?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody weighing in? I'm going to just change it to this transition committee. Or no, it's right there. Never mind. Okay. Anybody want to talk about any of the other edits that were made? Anything? I think we'll probably have to, I know, Dave, you had some wordsmithing that's probably going to be affected by this pretty significantly.
Yeah. So do you want to send me a clean version of it? Or I guess I'll send it to everybody, but I'll look through it, not to change anything, but really with a red pen around grammar and tense and all that kind of hoo-ha.
Okay. All right. Based on, just so we, I think her point about emphasizing is what we heard versus, this is what we heard versus this is what's actually happening is a good one. Okay. I agree. It's very, it's something your lawyer would recommend to protect you. Keep you out of trouble. All right. Did anybody else have any issues with anything that was raised by Lauren tonight? If not, I'm going to accept the changes that she made. I will go through and make sure all the things that she talked about in terms of the preliminary for replacing draft, making sure town is capitalized, town department heads capitalized, charter capitalized, bylaws capitalized. So we have the consistency there. I'll make those edits. I'll send them to David Heaney. And I will
change all the subcommittees to committees because there was a couple places that.
Yep. Hang on, I'll make a note of that too. Sub to committees. Anything else? Just trying to jot them down as we're going along. Okay. So let's take a vote on, I guess, the materiality of what is included within the preliminary report. And again, similar to the vote that we took on the charter last week, there may be some technical amendments that we'll make, but with regards to the content, the tone, and the layout, and what is and is not included, should not differ much from what we are voting on here tonight. And if it does, I will make sure we come back and rediscuss it. So I will take a motion to accept the preliminary report as it currently stands in its material form, save any technical edits that may be required.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Carrie. Yep, sorry, I wasn't looking. Keith.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Janie.
Yes.
Dave Heaney.
Yep.
Denise, type in if you're good. Denise is good. Sandy.
Yes.
And I will vote, Laura will vote yes as well. We are unanimous. Okay, the last quick thing I wanted to talk about was that I'm going to stop sharing. We are presently scheduled to meet on Labor Day. And happy to do it. I am on vacation. I don't think people want to. So I'm going to propose that unless we need that particular meeting, that we skip that one. If everybody's okay with it. I think we're in good shape timing wise. If, like I said, if it comes down to crunch time and we need to squeeze in an additional meeting, I don't think we'll have heard back from the Attorney General by that point. it'll put us a little bit further out on the post-mortem for the public hearing. I'm going to make sure that the public hearing is taped. If somebody could volunteer just to kind of take notes of the high level things that were raised, and then make a note if anything in particular that gets brought up within the public hearings. If somebody could just make reference to that so we can go back and look at them again.
I can do that.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. I think, does anybody else have anything they would like to discuss this evening? Did I hit everything on the minutes? So we will, our next meeting is actually going to be the 17th. It's going to be the public hearing. It is going to be the public hearing that takes place online. So stay tuned for updates with regards to that. I may reach out to people for help with getting some information out and passed around. And if anybody else has anything, we talked about Labor Day. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to discuss? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Anybody opposed? We are adjourned.